Palestinian into Sinai, offering to write all the debts, offering a huge amount of money, but Egypt is sticking by their principle. They're not accepting writing off the debts or receiving a lot of money to finish the Palestinian cause. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We always get sucked into this. It's, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think if the borders are open, we are ready to repeat 1948.
No.
The Palestinians, if they want to run away from Gaza, they will have done it. They are not going to do it. 1948 is not going to be repeated. And I tell you, the steadfastness of the Gazawi people is something you have to admire.
Yes.
And the only thing we comment on Egypt is by blocking it, they are blocking the aid. And that's what's happening.
Not true.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we have to. There's so many stories about what's going on the borders, but I do agree with you that there's been many testimonies of Palestinians saying we're not leaving. If we die here, we die here.
True.
Because they don't want to repeat the 1948 Nakba, where they were told you can leave and you can come back, and they've never come back. And now we have a nation without an identity that's been stolen, in my view, stolen away from them. So if I've got two people have said that they want to make a comment from the floor. So did you want to make a comment?
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
My honored guests, esteemed colleagues and friends, it is an honor to address all of you today in this historic chamber, where I have long stood for justice and the debate on and expressing our opinions. I'm not speaking today as an Egyptian nor a human rights lawyer. I'm talking now for the rising generation. We belong here. We have a long stood in this country. We're building our history here, and we are putting our culture, we're integrating this country. The story of British-Arab relations is not written in treaties alone. It lives in our shared experience, migrations, contributions, and reliance in the classroom we fill, hospitals we serve, and communities we building. I am here today, and I will welcome any dialogue with anyone, and I am open as an Egyptian who integrated in UK to build a new history. Let's forget about the past. Let's forget about its mistakes. Let's think we belong here. The coming generations belong here. Our children belong here. Still, they are belonging to our Arab countries. Still, they are having both together. And we demand for the future where Arab voices are not a sign or a number. It is a strategic. It is something we need to form from here and start it from today, to build it strong, to have our voice heard, to have our things and the civilizations mixed together. Then we can find the route for our relations to go more forward, to be working together and building together. Let this evening mark not only reflection but resolve. Lest tonight, the future of British-Arab relations will not be written behind the closed door, but in the open with us at this table. Let us start today to think what is our plan, where we are going forward, what we are going to do, how we're going to integrate, to develop, and to show the real powerful Arab voice in the UK and communities. My question now will come to you. How we can form a plan or a route plan for the coming generations to integrate in this country and have a powerful voice, a powerful relationship with the British community. And I would like to share your experience tonight for the speakers to learn, and for the coming generation and the young youth here to learn how to go forward. Thank you.
go forward, I am personally, I was a founding member of the campaign. We founded Palestinian Solidarity in 1983 after the War of Lebanon. At the time we were about 10 now, as I heard, the last membership of the organization is in excess of 100,000. And we are involved. All we need now is to organize to be within the local communities. There is local election coming soon, which is in 6 months, in almost a year time. It's May 26.
Yeah.
We need to have, there are areas, for example, Sam Habib, which stood for election in Ealing, and I'm living in Ealing. He got around 8,000 votes. So there must be a base that gave him this 8,000 votes. So in those areas where he got majority of votes, if we have a candidate to stand there, the chance of them becoming a councillor is very highly likely. When I was a member of the Labour Party at the time, when the Labour Party was a Labour Party, I tried to stand for election, and you know the selection committee, they ask you certain questions. One of the questions, the 10 questions, the first 10 questions, I answered them perfectly as far as they're concerned. Then they asked me about the whip. The whip. Would you follow the whip? I said, no, I wouldn't follow the whip. Therefore,
Let's move, because we have to do the question.
no, just one little word.
Please go on.
Then he phoned me, after he rejected me, he said to me, you stupid, you should have said, I would follow the whip, but when you are there, do whatever you want.
Exactly.
And therefore, we can't do it.
Okay. So your answer is sort of to get more involved
In local politics.
in local politics. I mean, I'd say something about that. I'll leave to you first.
As a matter of fact, this is a very good question. How do we move forward? We will only move forward when we, as Arabs, learn how to disagree together. When we as Arabs learn how to respect each other, this is a huge issue. If I say something that people don't agree with it, they straight away go on the attack. They straight away, like there is a revenge got to be taken there. When we learn how to disagree, when we know how to respect each other's opinion, like when people say we need to make a lobby. How do you make a lobby when you're fighting together every day? How do you make a lobby when you're arguing together every day? How do you make a lobby when you're attacking each other countries every day? If you want to move forward, start to have a new head. And as you say, forget the past, forget all this garbage that you brought with you. And start as a new person. Start as one person, not Iraqi, Egyptian, Syrian, Libyan. You live in the UK, you're British. So get together as Arab together, forget where you come from, and start to build something united together. Do not be an enemy for me because you disagree with me. That's it.
Okay, I think the question was, how do you integrate into British community? I think most people have the same kind of route, whether you're, no matter what background you have. If you've got kids in school, talk to the parents, invite them round for a cup of coffee. You know, the mums are wonderful at doing that. If you like a kid who plays football, go on, or hockey, wear thick coats, buy lots of coats, and go and talk to people. It's just a very normal. Now, if not everybody can be a politician, but if you have it, don't block it. I think one of the issues that I think has happened, and you know, this question would be good for a panel that's with all respect. Because then I had to go through this. I grew up in a very British area, but my parents never told me to be a politician. You know, you're always doctor, engineer. That's always the hope for any child. So luckily, my sister's a doctor, my brother's an engineer, and they're fed up by the time it came to do whatever I want. But it's just the normal you know, whether you're in Britain, whether you're in India, like I was, it's the same standards. Just involve yourself with the community. If your child likes sports, get involved with them. If encouraged, if your child likes a charity, whether they like animals charities or you know, whatever charity that they like, let them do it, because that's how you meet people, like-minded people. There's no point forcing somebody to go into politics if they hate politics, or to go and you know, into a dog shelter if they hate dogs, or to go. So just find the passions that are just outside the house and try to nourish the children, the future generation, to find themselves. I'm trying to encourage one of my daughters to become a lawyer, because every time I speak, she shuts me down. You know? and now she's actually considering it. It's wonderful. So, you know, that's my point of view as somebody who was born and raised here. I do see myself British, very much so. I don't think there's an identity problem there. I believe I'm the first I am the first person from any ethnic background to serve as chairman of Bromsgrove District Council. You can see all the photos, everybody is the same, except, and I'm the first person. So, you know, there are routes to getting things done. I think it's a very, it's a lovely country, lovely people, lovely communities. If you integrate, do it, and don't just stand. Well, if you go into politics, you can't stand on one issue that is related to a different country. Whilst people are passionate, everybody wants the same. They want to be able to have good schools, they want nice, good healthcare for the children, they need to be able to put food on the table, and if we stand on the ticket to serve people, the people who voted for us, we have to serve them first, and then we discuss our issues, which is not only tolerated, respected. In my view, I've run in three elections in the last 3 years, county, district, general. I am district councillor, but on the doorstep in a place where 97% of people are English white, they knew exactly what I'd done for the community, a lot of people, you know, a significant number, and then they said, you know, and we agree with you on Palestine. And, you know, but they gave me their vote because of the work I did for them, not because of one issue. And I think it's really important to drill that down into the community. If you don't like politics, if you don't like knocking on doors, and if you don't like leafleting, and if you don't like to people, don't stand in an election. There's no point, you know. If it's only about us, there's just absolutely no point. But if you love the community, if you love doing that, then go ahead and do it, and don't let anything stop you.
On the question of integration, as a matter of fact, we have to remember that we have more than 3 or 4 generations in UK. So the second and the third generation very well integrated from my experience on the ground.
Natural. Sorry. We went off into a discussion because you brought politics, Saka. I'll take questions. Shall we have questions? I'll take another question from somebody. If anybody wants to ask a question.
Simple question, by the way. My name is Muhammad, and I'm doing my master's in Green Chemistry and Sustainable Resource Technologies. So I want to say that it's a very honor for me to attend this amazing conversation, discussion between all of you. Just for filling the gaps between the future, past, and the present from my perspective as a process engineer. I want to say that now the British government and the Egyptian government, they have very good cooperation in the green technology. So the British government just has invested more than 500 million pounds for an initiative called Green Growth for the Circular Economy. So this is another point of view. I know that all of you are politicians, but I'm engineer, so this is a great cooperation between the British government and Egyptian government and the green technology as well.
Thank you for that information. It's really helpful. Thank you. Well, does anybody have any questions? Yeah. We've answered them. Well, Liz, Sorry? I can. Say that again.
I do have a question.
Please go ahead.
It's still about integration.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a question because, for example, myself, I still feel lost. I've been 15 years in UK, born and raised in Italy, and still I don't know what exactly I am. Am I Italian? I'm British because I'm here now, or I'm Egyptian. So it's still hard to integrate because I'm between three countries. I feel more Egyptian, but still fighting here for everything. Because when I go back to Italy, I cannot integrate. Italy is completely different than Britain. Yes, Britain and Egypt, they are working together. I see this. And even I'm not fully British, now I do feel a little bit British, but I would need help to integrate even more.
You might be the right person for Egyptian. Are you Egyptian?
Yes.
Okay. Egyptian-British integration, what support is there for that kind of relationship? In London, you live in London. There you go. I mean, there's difficulties here.
As a matter of fact, this is what I was going to talk about before you say there is so many generations in the UK, and the generation that struggle with the identity is the older generation. The younger generation, like say, I have 4 daughters, and they married, they have children, so we're talking about generations. They integrated very, very well, they're very independent, they're very successful. They are British more than anything else. They were not involved with anything until the Palestinian issue and they became interested in politics. But before that, they have no interest whatsoever in any politics. So this is the younger generation. And maybe parents will have this issue with their new babies. I mean, talking about children's. Maybe they will struggle with that. But you like it or not, people will grow up and live in the UK and become British. And I'm not asking them to forget about their motherland or forget about their countries, because they have neighbors, they have friends, they have families who still live there like myself. And I go every year to see them and visit them. But my daughters, they are British, fully British. They're not struggling with any identity. And as I said, I'm so happy to see them the way they are. I'm proud of them. And I don't see, from what they've done through their life, there's going to be any issue with their children's. So they have children's. I don't think they have any issue with this integration or identity. So this is the way it is. But maybe our generation that will think of this issue.
Thank you. Maybe we'll get another question here on integration.
Thank you. In 1999,
Okay.
the Arab community had a conference, a 3-day conference, which was held at Imperial College. And there were lots of academic papers prepared. Among them was the question of integration. And they that study made comparison with the integration of the Asian community, the African community, and other communities. And they also compared it with the Arabs in America.
Okay.
And that study showed, of course, it's not conclusive, but it showed that, first of all, the question of identity, the problem of identity, it is based on the reaction to the person. If people apply for a job, doctors who apply for a job and use English name, and they are asked to come for an interview, but if they use their real Pakistani name, they don't get an interview. And this was a problem for the Medical Association here in Britain a period back. Secondly, when you look at the situation now, when the London police, who have a very, very difficult task to keep all those people apart, to make sure they have their right, and at the same time not to do damage and what have you, and people are all hot up mentally, but at the same time, when the police decides that you cannot have a demonstration against the BBC because 3 streets behind the BBC, there is a synagogue. Now, that is when the question of identity comes. Dr. Mustafa looks like an Englishman. He got blue eyes and light color and what have you, and so he has no problem. But I assure you, I went to a meeting with the Home Office a few years back, not now, when there was the question of stop and search. Stop and search policy at that time, and this is the figures of the Home Office 3 years after it came into effect. They have, in the 3 years, stopped something, I can't remember the exact figure, I don't want to quote figures, but something in the order of 900,000 people. Among the 900,000 people, only 1,000 were taken to the police station to be asked and investigated. Out of the 1,000 people, only about 260 were taken to court because either they didn't have a visa to stay or because they violated the income tax or whatever. They found some other thing. So when we went to see the Home Office, and at that time we didn't see the Home Secretary, she sent the Home Office, and because we were Arabs, quote, Muslims came, so we had a police officer who is a Pakistani so that he can, you see, we are not different. We have a Pakistani officer, and there was somebody else. And they started the narrative talking about people and integrating, that's the Home Office, integrating and not integrating. But then the question was, part of the statistics showed that among, I think something about 70 or 80% of the people who were stopped and searched were young people. And they were all, 80% of them were Pakistanis or Indians or had beard or the visual side of it. Now the question was, how does this affect the younger generation by convincing them that the police and the authority is with them to protect them? Because every child who was stopped would talk to 3 of his friends, and somebody else would talk. So at the end of the day, you end up by having probably a very large number of young people who feels aggrieved. They were not mistreated. Lord Scarman, in the inner city rioting, he had a report, I can't remember, in the 80s. And he said, if a man perceives, it's not true, but he perceives that he's being unjustly treated, and if at the same time he feels, he perceives, again, it's not true, this is what he thinks, that he has no redress. So he becomes a man in the corner. And the man in the corner will behave like a man in the corner. So the identity issue comes only when there is conflict. The identity of the younger generation here in Britain, I don't think we have a problem. In America, I remember when I was young, they had signs in America, it says, no dogs or niggers. And then they end up by having a president who is black. The Conservative Party here, who's not very well renowned for its minority relations, now they have a leader who's not white. We had a prime minister who's not white. So the issues are not the visual one. I don't think we have an identity problem, but I think part of the mistakes we do, the Arabs, if we take everything into the Palestine issue. That's where, so if you have a student who fails in his exam, and he says, you know, because my teacher is a Jew, this is rubbish. because we don't, yesterday,
Zionist. You
one
mean
of,
Zionist?
Pardon?
Because lots of Jewish people are with Palestine. So Zionist, you mean my teacher's a Zionist?
No, they all say that. People used to say that.
no, I'm not being very careful with my words, but this is the idea.
True, there was
So I think the situation is that we think we have an identity problem. I don't think we have an identity problem except when it comes into conflict or we perceive it. It's because yesterday one of the ladies that I met in a conference, she said, because I wrote on the Facebook or something about Palestine, she had a flat from the council she was going to pay, she didn't pay, and she said they took it from me because I wrote about Palestine. I said, are you sure the council even read your Facebook? So we can put ourselves in a situation which is not necessary. Sorry, I've taken too
No,
long.
it's okay. The council hardly reads anything, let alone your Facebook, in my experience. that's the problem. No, I have to say this because so many people, just walking here today, I saw Jewish Voice for Labour. They actually, I have a history with the Labour Party. I actually left the Labour Party, like 80 other councillors left. So I have to be very careful about that because we need our friends with us and we mustn't make mistakes when
The Labour
we
Party is
speak.
not the same Labour Party.
The Labour Party, I don't know what party the
not the
Labour
same.
Party is, to be honest.
It's
It
a
used to
different
be the
Labour.
party of people, but I don't read. This is totally different debate. I can tell you, I used to be the chair of the party in my area, so totally different debate. But, my advice to you, socially, integration, whatever you love. If you love playing golf, try and meet people through golf. If you love playing football, yoga, try find whatever yoga lessons are happening around your area. There is some, I think that there, I do struggle with that with some of my friends who came to the UK to study or whatever. There is always sort of like maybe a block where you don't go and meet strangers in hobbies, and I think maybe that never happened back home, and that's why people are a little bit closed to it, whereas here it's very easy. You just look up, okay, I like doing this, and you find a club and you go and you'll meet people. I think everybody's there for the same reason, and it could be a political club, it could be a political party. I mean, if you want to do politics, that's fine, but it could be sport, it could be, but there's so many things in your area you'll find. Pick one thing and go to it. Give it a go. Okay, so, I mean, we have one, if anybody feels the need to ask a question, oh, here we go, question. Everybody now wants to ask a question. Excellent, go on, please.
My question is about integration. I believe integration has a really linked to economy. Strengthens when it makes people proud they are British. Poor economy make people, even white British, feel themselves like very British. I saw many British white English. They are not interested in their country, but interested in other countries. So my question, how Britain has a good skills like management, other skills because of its history. Arab world has a money. Well, so how British Arab integration can help to increase the economy or to improve the economic situation in the country?
Which country, here or there?
Here.
Here. Does integration? Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds every person, because we have to clear the room.
I am probably an example of the people who integrated. I came as a student when I was 16, 17 years of age to do my A-level and did my study, and I'm still here. I never felt an outsider. And at the same time, it depends on the people you meet in university, in colleges. If they treat you as one of them, you feel the integration is easy. The problem is if they treat you differently, then that sticks in your head. I remember when I became a senior engineer in one of the companies, somebody submitted a report to me, and when he started talking to me, he started saying, this is one word by word and with a loud voice. Then I said to him, I responded in the same way,
do you know that I am your boss? Yeah. So it is easy. You integrate if you feel you are not feeling outsider. If you feel outsider, whatever you do, you will not integrate.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it's 7 o'clock. We have to give up the room. I'm sorry. So thank you very much for attending today. Hopefully you can come. There's another event on the 7th of July, and it's Raising Palestinian Women's Voices. You can hear all about my political issues with the parties. But please, if you want and if you can, do attend the next one, and it will be hosted in Houses of Parliament as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Room 5.